Well, welcome to Sipping Sense, Sips and Swigs. It's a monthly edutainment podcast designed to introduce you to intriguing and unique people and innovations in the wine world. My name is Stephanie Brown, author of Sipping Sense, Uncorking the Flavors of Wine, Entertaining and Healthy Cooking. And I'm really excited today to have Brenae Royale as my guest. So let me tell you a little bit about Brenae. Brenae is the founder of her new wine label, Violet's Paradise, but Brenae is no stranger to first. As the youngest and first Black woman to manage the historic Monte Russo Vineyard, one of California's most prestigious and storied vineyards, she's been a quiet, powerful force reshaping the wine industry. Her tenure at E&J Gallo, followed by a role at St. Superi, and other impactful collaborations, including the one with Brown Estates, cemented her place as a trailblazer. Now she's stepping boldly into a new chapter with the launch of her new wine brand, Violet's Paradise. Her partnership with Brown Estate, a move that piqued my interest, not only for its innovation, but for the bold narrative it carried, one of Black excellence in an industry that has long lacked diversity. Welcome, Brenae, and it's really good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Like I said, you're getting real life Brenae today. Just kind of running in between different things. But no, thank you. It's a pleasure to see you too. It's been a while.
Been a while. Okay, so I gave a real high level view of who you are. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about your wine journey, and then we'll just kind of just get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, I'm feeling so much older now that I can say it's been 12 years come June that I started out at Gallo. I started as an intern and then quickly came back full time as a viticulturist. Then I became the vineyard manager and then eight progressions later, was promoted to the manager of North Coast operations 4 days before I had my first child. And yeah, after having my son, I just felt like I could do everything because I actually jumped back into work at 8 weeks postpartum and didn't have any childcare, so my baby was out there in the vineyard with me. And he, after a successful 2023 vintage, I just looked around and was like, what's next? And had made the decision in April of 2024 to leave to become a director over at St. Superi of viticulture operations, but quickly realized that that wasn't going to be as long of a fit as I had previously planned for. And the opportunity maybe 3 or 4 weeks right after Violet May passed away, my longtime vineyard pup, there was an opportunity for me to jump into entrepreneurship full time. And so I started building Violet's Paradise. And within a matter of weeks, I went from having 25 cases of wine to 425 cases of wine across five Monte Rosso wines from vintage 23, which was the last full vintage that I farmed. Um, During my 11-year tenure at Gallo. And then, I mean, people, as soon as I started learning that I was preparing to jump ship from St. Superi and corporate life, I had investors quite quickly. I had graphic designers, I had an artist, I had everyone wanting to be a part of it because they knew it would be quite special. And I'm still super humbled by all of that. And left St. Superi in November of 2024. And so since then, I've been doing vineyard consulting for a number of different people while also building out Violet's Paradise. And now I'm actually in the process of purchasing my own vineyard. And so lots happening. Also within Violet's Paradise, it started out rooted in grief of losing Violet May, and I didn't want it to be this negative emotion around it because she really was my companion for such a big part of my career, and she was with me everywhere, that I wanted it to be a celebration of her life, but also a celebration of where I've been, where I'm at, and where I'm going. And so as I was looking for sparkling wines for one of my clients, I was like, oh, this is a really, really good deal. How do I get sparkling into my own story to make it real? And the Veration Project 501(c)(3) was looking for an opportunity to have a wine to fundraise for their initiatives. And so they kind of just aligned as far as our values go. And I decided to make it 100% charitable. So 50% of our sparkling wine goes to the Violet's Paradise Agriculture Scholarship that I launched in Violet May's honor, and the Veration Project. And so yeah, anybody buying that sparkling, I want us to toast, for everybody's achievements, because we've, as Black people and BIPOC individuals, like, have made it so far. So the sparkling's a celebration of that. And the Violet's Paradise Agriculture Scholarship will be awarded to students in college pursuing any degree in agriculture, because I do think there's a shortage of young people wanting to pursue agriculture. It's not an easy industry. You don't get rich. So, but it's such a rewarding industry. And so I know for me in college, I got a scholarship at the last possible minute, and that really moved the needle for me to be able to go. And so I want to offer that opportunity. And then I also have a nonprofit that I'm working on to make the sparkling 100% tax exempt as well. So I I've got a lot happening.
I read your newsletter because I do read every last one of them that you send me.
Thank you.
I read your newsletter this last week, and you talked about the vineyard being your happy place. That's the place
Yeah.
everything starts stressing you out, and you really need to just focus. And so I know we're heading into spring, and so from an educational perspective, can you just tell us why the vineyard's your happy place, but also give us a little bit of insight into, why is spring so important in the vineyard, because and how important it is to the ultimate product of wine.
Yeah, so the vineyard's my happy place because I'm outside. I mean, even going all the way back to high school, I got into ag because it's almost like job security. People got to eat, people got to have clothes on their backs, and I could bring my dog to work. Like, as rudimentary of an answer that is, like, I knew I wasn't set up to be behind a computer too long, even though I spend a lot of time now behind a computer. But I could be outside, I could gather my thoughts. Tending the vines is huge for my mental health, because if you've ever really stayed outside, you start to hear nature, and so that allows me to kind of soften maybe some of the voices in my own mind and anxieties of real life happening. And so being outside is my happy place. But I love spring too, because every year, in a vineyard, you're going to be doing the same things. You're going to prune, you're going to shoot them, you're going to have leaf removal, you're going to have all of these prescribed things that the vineyard's life is going to go through across the season. But every season kind of presents you with a different set of challenges and opportunity. And during the spring is when you have the widest window to kind of set yourself up for success, whether it be through the cover crop you had put down the winter before, and the timing on when you're going to mow it, when you're going to start your fertility treatments, and getting your fertilizers out there, and then too, pruning. You're setting the stage regardless of what kind of training system or trellis style that you have. And so pruning really sets you up. If you do it well, every other farming pass after that will be easy. You do a bad job at pruning, you're going to spend the rest of the season trying to clean up a job you really don't have any flexibility on. So the number of buds you leave, the position of the growth position or the spurs, the internode length of what you're leaving, that's all going to dictate that next farming pass that then dictates your way all the way to harvest. And so for me, pruning, outside of tending your soil, pruning is the most important job, because you set the stage once and then you got to wait a full 10, 12 months before you get to do it again. And so springtime in the vineyards, it's the start of the season. So even your rate of bud break, the weather, this is the time when you can run into a lot of serious frost events that could wipe your crop out before you even get started. So your practices around delayed butt break, or however that's happening, you're setting off a timer Um, and you're starting to get a feel for how things are going to get rolling pretty quickly. So I love the springtime. Just because, yeah, things are starting. I'm a spring baby myself, so it's just the start of another opportunity. Yeah, so there's a lot of energy at the beginning of the season because you get to do it again. You get another chance to create something.
Right, right. It's a beautiful time of the year, and I spring flowers. I'm a summer baby, so I'm a harvest baby.
Okay.
I'm at the end when the wine's coming out, so that's the part I
Right,
like.
right. You're there for the reward.
Right. So you talked a little bit about Violet's Paradise because I'm gonna move on to Violet's Paradise, but I didn't realize Violet was your lab. Is that who is the Black Lab? Okay, so I met,
Yeah.
thank goodness,
Yes.
when I was out to see you out in California. So I was going to ask you where the brand name come from, but you told us a little bit about that. Tell me why I mean, selling wine is hard, and you know this. There's a lot of brands that end up on a shelf, and you've got to figure out how to stand out, both from a flavor perspective, or yeah, a quality perspective, but also just, the story is always a lot of fun because that's what people kind of gravitate to. But you started out with six wines. That's a lot of wine to start out with for a brand new.
Yeah.
Are you a newbie when it comes to selling wine? You might
Yeah.
be a wine, but you're a newbie when it comes to selling wine. What made you think you needed six wines?
I'm too ambitious for my own good. So when all of this came about, I named it Violet's Paradise because I didn't think I would actually get the Monte Rosso Vineyard trademark. And so I thought I was going to have this play on words of like everybody knew where she lived and this is where the wine is from and oh it's from Moon Mountain District. So you're starting to catch my drift. And then I got the Moon Mountain or the Monte Rosso Vineyard trademark. So I was like, "Oh." But when it started it was supposed to just be this one off, it was supposed to be a way to honor her and then because of like the immediate interest, I was like, "Oh, let's see how far we can take it." I don't know if there's ever going to be an opportunity for me to do this again. That's what my mindset was then, and now I know, like, oh, okay, I could have done anything, but um, no, I started out with six because I have full confidence that these wines are going to do well because the story, the initiatives behind it, they all resonate once the wine is gone. And throughout this entire process of even crafting the story and making it relevant for people is that it's highly emotive. A lot of people have pets, regardless if it's a dog, cat, bird. So you have that piece. And I've learned from talking to people like they all think this is just an amazing way to honor that kind of relationship because you don't have to work on a vineyard or even, work alongside your pet to understand how deeply that bond can resonate with you and affect you in everyday life. But also, the fact that I had such a legacy of my time at Monte Rosso, it felt like I needed a full portfolio of things that people didn't get to see, but now I get to offer,
Right.
such as the first time Grenache. No one's ever had it, and I'll be the first one to do it. And we were the first people to plant it. So it's like, I had this huge opportunity. And so I just figured cast a wide net. I won't ever be somebody who releases wines annually. They'll always come out via collections because the premise of my brand is I won't release a wine that I didn't farm, save for the sparkling. I didn't farm the sparkling, however, it serves a different purpose. But for the most part, my collections will be wines that I farmed. And so I've poured my heart and soul into this. And regardless if it sells out immediately or, sits on the shelf for a little bit, which I don't think is going to happen. I've created a wine that resonates once the wine is drank and gone. There are ways that people can contribute to this brand and have an effect for other people's for an industry that they care about, whether that be through just supporting the wines, which um automatically means you're contributing to the scholarship because every sale of the wine contributes back to the scholarships. This wine and this brand gives back. Something that I haven't launched yet is we're working on pet products. So like tennis
Like,
balls, dog bowls, things like that, that I'm actually going to be donating to different shelters and her old kennel and her old thing. So I want this, I started out big because the footprint that this or the paw print, I should say, that this brand's going to leave is going to positively benefit things that made Violet May healthy and the best pup she can be, which made me a better person and vineyard manager. So I started out with 6 because I'm pretty confident and I'm actually just absolutely too ambitious for my own good. But I in my mind when this started, I just didn't think I would have this big of an opportunity. So I just was casting a pretty wide net.
yeah, let it ride, I would say. Just let it ride.
Yeah.
Oh, I used, you know where I come from, with the starting a wine club, and then I call it a hobby gone amok. So, all of a sudden, I'm like global, and I'm like, how did that happen? Back when people who look like you and I weren't really, supposed to even be in the wine industry. So I hear you, and there's still a lot of opportunity for us to shine and grow, and I'm proud of you every day. I see you doing something else. So
Thank
let's tell
you.
where they can get your wines and how they can follow you before all that wine is sold out and nobody can get a bottle.
Yeah, it actually has been moving quite quickly, which I'm very surprised about. So right now all of the wines are sold via pre-sale. They don't go live until June, which are just the summer wines, which is the sparkling Semillon and Grenache, um, via the website, brenaeroyal.com. I'm going to be having pickup parties, which I'm kind of putting out there right now, but then we're also building a plan to go national so that people can come get their wines and then I'll reimburse shipping costs because shipping costs these days are a little bit crazy. So we're building out kind of an event scheme for the next 6 months. And then the Cabernet Franc, Zin, and Cabernet Sauvignon actually bottle in the middle of June and will be released at the beginning of September. So once all 6 wines are out, then I'll have a bigger push for like dinner parties and things like that in the late part of the year. So right now, BrenaeRoyal.com is the best place. I will be doing a little bit of wholesale, but not a whole lot, but we'll be having some select markets that will carry the Violet's Paradise wines as well. But best place to get your hands on it is BrenaeRoyal.com. And then you can follow me on Instagram too. You can subscribe to the newsletter. I will be teasing out a couple things in these next couple weeks of things that I'm working on. But I will say, knowing what I'm working on, you want to get this first vintage. Um, yeah, there's a lot of really positive things coming down the line.
Vineyard, because the last time I was on the vineyard, I didn't even know it, but you were with child.
Yes. I had just learned. I literally had just learned like, oh man, like a couple weeks, like maybe 2 weeks before I saw you, I was like, oh, I don't get to drink this entire trip. And I was like fighting for my life at your house. I was so nauseous like that entire time. And you know those little bracelets they have you wear? I was putting mine on and off because those were the only things like saving me. So yeah, when we first met, I was like 5 or 6 weeks pregnant with my son, who just turned 2. That little ham.
So cute.
Yeah, so I mean, knock on wood, next time I'm out at Martha's Vineyard, I will be drinking. But yeah, that was a wild time. Goodness.
It was wild for me too because I'm like, why is she not drinking? I'm like, she's like, what? She made every last one of these wines we're serving. She had her handprint was in them, and then and then later on you told me. So like, I'm like, oh, that's why you weren't drinking.
Yeah. Well, and it sucked too because you had like we brought in some really beautiful wines. Like you spoke earlier about the Brown Estate collaboration, which to this day is just one of my proudest achievements. Because the Brown family are just, I mean, they're such amazing people, even with what they've done and how they've pioneered the way. And so I was not able to drink any of those wines I brought, and I was like devastated because they're so good.
My favorite wine, my favorite, it's my favorite varietals, and then I learned about them, 30 years ago, almost 30 years ago when Mac McDonald told me about the family. So
Yeah,
they are very special in my heart. So to know you and that team came together is very special for me. And Brenae, really, thank you so much for taking the time and spending with a little time with me to tell my fans about your story. And I know there's a whole lot of other story behind all the things that you've done and why you where you are. But you just keep doing it, girlfriend.
thank you.
To see you sitting on TV someday talking about that wine that you just launched, and I'm sure that's going to happen. So, uh,
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for this opportunity. I hope we can get some time to figure out pouring these wines on the vineyard. That would be amazing. So, yeah,
any
we'll be in touch.